Is autism burnout the same as an autism shutdown? Well, hello indie people, and if you're brand new to my channel, I talk about being autistic from my experiences on a weekly basis, so if that sounds interesting to you, click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this video is all about autism shutdowns versus autism burnout. Is there a difference? But also towards the end of the video, I'm giving my tips on autism shutdowns and burnout, so hopefully you can take something away from this video today. So firstly, what is an autism shutdown? Basically, an autism shutdown is where an autistic person reacts to a situation, a stimulus, some sort of trigger that basically makes the autistic person feel overloaded, stressed. You know, there's a lot of emotion that they can't deal with or handle. So basically, instead of having a meltdown, which is an outward expression of emotion, autism shutdowns are the opposite of autism meltdowns. This is where we retreat into ourselves and, you know, we feel like we can't communicate. Some of us aren't able to move or be able to communicate our thoughts during a shutdown. For some of us, we may need to retreat to a safe, quiet space away from the thing that is causing the shutdown to happen. So that is autism shutdowns in a nutshell. But you're probably wondering, what is autism burnout? Well, autism burnout is something that can actually cause more meltdowns and shutdowns. Autism burnout, in effect, is basically when an autistic person has pushed themselves to the absolute limit of their abilities. So, I don't know, maybe they're working a lot more to do certain things, or maybe they're working, for example, and, you know, there's a lot of pressures at work. An autistic burnout is basically when a autistic person reaches that precipice. You know, they've reached the height of anxiety, stress, feeling overwhelmed, and basically someone will go into burnout and basically they're not able to do as much as they were used to or feel able to. From my own personal experience of burnout, I basically felt really lethargic or very tired all of the time without real reasons for it. I wasn't going to the gym every single day, for example. Like, I wasn't physically doing much, but I still felt incredibly tired, both physically, mentally, but also emotionally, because autism burnout in itself can make the day-to-day running of things, you know, you going out to the shops, you cleaning, you doing whatever you do day to day, seem a lot more harder than what it used to be. For example, when it comes to me personally, I'm not the greatest communicator in the world anyway, but when I'm in burnout, the words just don't seem to flow correctly. I mismatch words, and I don't know, the things that I'm trying to say don't come out in the way that I want them to because of that exhaustion, that tiredness, and just feeling lethargic and fatigued. But also for some autistic people, it's been known that they lose skills, you know, so the things that they were really incredibly great at doing, they seem unable to do them as well. But this losing of skills is also known as autistic regression or autistic recession, depending on where you get your information from. Now, I don't know if there is a difference. If there is, please let me know down below. Now, autistic burnout can happen at any age. So you could be a small little person, or you could be like me in my late 20s, or even in your 40s, 50s. Doesn't matter, it happens at any age, typically after a major life transition. Or like I've said previously, someone could be under a lot of stress, there could be a lot of changes in their life, you know, unexpected changes, there's just a lot going on. But also the duration of autism burnout as well as the severity is massively different from person to person. So for me, for example, I personally experience short bursts of burnout, so maybe for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. But I've personally heard stories of autistic people who feel like they have experienced autism burnout for months, years, even decades. So just to give you an idea of some of the signs of autism burnout, I've got a few off here. I'm not a medical professional, this is what I've just gotten from the internet, just to make that clear here. You know, there's increased sensitivity to stimulus, sensory stimulus, so that's basically things like light, sound, just as generic examples. Exhaustion, like I've talked about before, where you feel lethargic, tired all of the time, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Problems making decisions, switching between tasks, and other executive functioning skills. Speech issues, like I personally feel like I get really bad speech issues, you know, like I slur my words and the things I say aren't coming out the way that I want them to. So I feel that when it comes to burnout, this gets really badly affected for me. Reduced social skills and also memory issues, just forgetting to do the general things that people need to do, you know, take care of ourselves, take care of our establishments where we live, you know, things like that. But some things that I feel that could help in autism burnout as well as autism shutdowns, really allowing people, autistic people, the time to recover from these experiences. Now with shutdowns, I feel this is a very good sound piece of advice, because when you're in a shutdown, you know, it's a very isolating experience. So allowing someone to recover and, you know, just being there for them as well, I think can be incredibly helpful. But also in burnout as well, I think allowing the person to recover from the things that they are doing is really, really important, because for me, when I've experienced burnout, things are 10 times harder. Everything seems to be more difficult than what it really should be. But also, I think the thing to remember with both of these is really not to push yourself too hard, especially with burnout. If you're pushing yourself too hard, it's gonna have repercussions, you know. Just know where your limits are. I know it's easier said than done, and I'm a bit of a hypocrite in this sense, because I know I push myself too hard on a lot of different things because I want to see things get done. You know, I enjoy working on stuff, but sometimes I reach that point where I know it's too much, but because I've reached that point, it's kind of hard to backtrack from that. So understanding where your limits are, I think, is incredibly important for both of these, to avoid both of these happening. And then another thing, just generally, you know, if you've got a coping strategy of some kind, or even if you've got one at the moment but it's not necessarily working, maybe re-evaluating that. You know, for me, I've got my own coping strategies of dealing with things. So if I feel really stressed and overwhelmed, I will walk outside, take 5-10 minutes, and then come back into the situation once I've had those 5-10 minutes. That coping strategy works for me, but it may not necessarily work for you. It's just finding something that you have in place that works for you. But definitely one of the contributing factors to autism burnout generally, I personally feel, is autistic masking, and I made a whole video on that, so go and check it out if you want to. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like for me down below, share your thoughts with us down below in the comments of this topic, any tips at all, anything you want to share. But for now, stay you, stay indie. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you next time.